Game Builder Garage is a game-making game released on June 11th, 2021. Soon after its announcement and release, people started getting pretty excited as this was a completely new Nintendo IP taking a unique approach to learning game development. Something Nintendo tried very carefully with Labo before. Game Builder Garage, being marketed towards a younger audience, didn't stop it from getting traction amongst an older audience as well as the online community. People online were calling it Nintendo's take on dreams. Ignoring the fact this statement being overly ambitious, it gives a great view of people's expectations and ultimately the letdown that ensued. After release, big Nintendo related news channels were covering Game Builder Garage as any other new Nintendo game. The pros and cons, reviews, first impressions, you name it. For a while, some channels were even showcasing community-made games. However, this did not last very long. People were starting to recognize Game Builder Garage's limits and lost their will to play and make games. The truth is, making games isn't for everyone. Some people just want to play them. Nintendo not providing an easy service to play community-made games practically erased a big portion of the potential player base. My guess is, Nintendo never intended Game Builder Garage to become a best-selling hit. It's an educational tool to get a younger audience excited about game development. But is there more to Game Builder Garage? Why is Game Builder Garage still so loved and the community still playing? In this video, I'll be sharing my personal experience with Game Builder Garage, and why I think it's not only a great tool for making games, but also for learning about them. As someone with an interest in making games, ever since I had my Nintendo DS, I could only dream of having a game like Game Builder Garage when I was younger. When it was announced, I was excited to say the least. Seeing the game showcased on day one of release, I knew there was something special about this game. Obviously, with Nintendo you can expect a polished product. My only concern was, how are they going to make this fun? In Game Builder Garage you work with pre-coded characters called Nodon, each with their own design, personality and functionality. The tutorial runs you through the very basics, and after that it's up to you to get creative in free programming. You can use up to 512 Nodon in a single game, but if you want to create a larger game, that's possible too with the GameSwap Nodon. Using Nodons has not only been a joy to work with, but also made me understand how coding with the script works. The logic stays the same, but presentation is key here. The biggest obstacle I looked up to while making games is the boring looking codes that just never click with me before Game Builder Garage. That might either be me intentionally not wanting to understand it because it looks boring, or this game really helped me. The answer is probably somewhere in the middle. Early on, I too discovered the engine being quite limiting. I can see how this can put people off, but hear me out. I think limits in a learning environment are beneficial in your journey to becoming a game developer. Limits are a gateway to explore what's possible and to stimulate creativity. It makes you think outside of the box through creative problem solving, trying to cross the boundaries of what's perceived to be possible. With this thought in mind, I created a game I dreamed about making for years. Shackled. Shackled was my first project in Game Builder Garage. It was the project where I learned while making. The entire process was essentially a trial and error, but I loved every second of it. I ended up with more knowledge than when I started, and this is something I didn't expect getting into this game. Through all sorts of innovation, the community has made it possible to import textures into the game. Every day new discoveries are being made to squeeze every bit of potential out of Game Builder Garage. I'm not kidding when I say, do not underestimate this engine. I've played some amazing experiences graphically and gameplay wise. Even for experienced game developers, Game Builder Garage is an excellent prototyping tool you can take with you on the go. To wrap up, I can safely say I was surprised by Game Builder Garage. It had a rough start, surviving in the landscape of more capable game-making tools being provided at the time. But till this day, a small community full of passionate people who love making, sharing and playing games remains. Thank you for watching.